I'm Isabella, and I thought I knew my husband, Nathan, like the back of my hand. His charming grin, his wild spontaneity, the way he could turn any dull day into a heart-pounding adventure. But on a crisp autumn morning, as golden sunlight poured into our cozy kitchen, he looked at me with a glint in his hazel eyes that sent a shiver down my spine. He whispered a plan for the weekend, a riddle wrapped in a smirk, and led me down a path I never expected. Now, standing in the shadow of an abandoned villa, surrounded by a wild, untamed garden, I'm caught in a moment that threatens to unravel everything I hold dear. What did Nathan mean when he vanished into the shadows, leaving me with strangers whose touches ignited a forbidden fire? And why was he watching from above with a smile that chilled me to the bone? Picture this. A single, fleeting moment where the world seems to hold its breath, suspended in the amber glow of an autumn morning. That's where I find myself now, standing at the edge of something I can't quite name. My name is Isabella, and at 36, I've built a life that feels like a warm, familiar quilt, stitched together with love, routine, and the unpredictable threads of my husband, Nathan. He's 38. A man who could charm the leaves off the trees with a single grin, always chasing the next thrill, the next surprise. I've always adored that about him, the way he can turn a mundane Tuesday into an adventure with nothing more than a whispered idea and a spark in his hazel eyes. Whether it's dragging me out for a spontaneous drive along winding back roads or crafting elaborate date nights with cryptic little clues scattered days before, Nathan lives for the unexpected. Our marriage has been a beautiful dance, one I've trusted with every step, even when the rhythm started to feel off. Lately, though, there's been a strange undercurrent to his spontaneity. His ideas for fun have taken on an edge I can't quite decipher. Just last month, he convinced me to let him blindfold me for a midnight walk through the woods near our home. The crunch of leaves underfoot, the cool air prickling my skin, his hand guiding me through the unseen. It was equal parts thrilling and unnerving. I laughed it off then, chalking it up to his playful nature, but a quiet unease lingered. What was he searching for in these odd moments? Why did they feel less like games and more like tests? Our home, a cozy suburban haven tucked away in upstate New York, has always been my safe harbor. It's a modest place, painted in soft creams and browns, with windows that catch the morning light just right. This particular Saturday in early autumn, I'm standing in our kitchen, watching golden sunlight spill across the tiled floor like liquid honey. The air outside is crisp, carrying the faint scent of fallen leaves, and I'm cradling a mug of coffee, letting the warmth seep into my hands. Nathan sits across from me at our small wooden table, his fingers wrapped around his own mug, a mischievous glint dancing in his eyes. He takes a slow sip, then leans forward, his voice low and teasing. "Isabella, let's spend this weekend differently," he says, the words hanging between us like a riddle. I tilt my head, waiting for more, but he just smirks. That familiar look that tells me he's already 3 steps ahead in whatever plan he's concocted. "Different how?" I ask, raising an eyebrow, but he only shrugs, his grin widening. Then, as if it's the most casual request in the world, he adds, "Wear something light, like a dress. Don't worry about the chill." I glance out the window at the gray-blue sky, feeling a flicker of doubt. It's barely 50 degrees out there, but I can't resist that spark in his gaze. So, I nod, setting my coffee down with a soft clink, and head upstairs to slip into a pale blue dress that flutters just above my knees. I grab a thin cardigan for good measure, though I know it won't do much against the autumn bite. When I come back down, Nathan's already by the door, keys jangling in his hand, that secretive smile playing on his lips. Without another word, we're out the door and into his old sedan, the engine rumbling to life as we pull away from our quiet suburban street. The drive starts familiar enough, the houses thinning out as we leave the suburbs behind. The roads narrow, flanked by towering trees with leaves ablaze in shades of crimson and gold, their branches arching over us like a natural cathedral. The car winds through these forgotten paths, the tires crunching over unseen gravel, and I can't help but steal glances at Nathan. His hands grip the steering wheel with a quiet intensity, his eyes fixed ahead, but every now and then, he flicks a look my way, his lips curling into that enigmatic smile that both thrills and unsettles me. The silence in the car is heavy, broken only by the low hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of wind through the cracked window. I shift in my seat, the fabric of my dress brushing against my skin. And finally, I can't hold back the question any longer. Nathan, where are we going? My voice sounds small in the confined space, almost swallowed by the quiet. He doesn't turn to me, just lets out a low chuckle, his tone teasing yet guarded. You'll see, Bella. Trust me. That's all he gives me, and I lean back, a mix of curiosity and unease knotting in my chest. After what feels like an eternity, probably close to an hour, the car slows, turning onto a barely there dirt path that I wouldn't have noticed if I'd been driving. We come to a stop in front of a rusted iron gate, half hidden by overgrown shrubs that seem to claw at the metal. Nathan cuts the engine, and the sudden stillness is jarring. He steps out, motioning for me to follow, and as I push the door open, the cool air hits me like a slap, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil and pine. I wrap my cardigan tighter around myself, my dress feeling far too thin for this secluded, wild place. We push through the gate, the hinges groaning under the weight of years, and I catch my first glimpse of what lies beyond. An abandoned villa stands in the distance, its stone facade weathered and scarred by time, the windows shattered and dark, staring down at us like hollow, unblinking eyes. It's surrounded by a sprawling garden, completely untamed, with high stone walls draped in thick ivy that seems to pulse with a life of its own. Wildflowers burst through the overgrowth in defiant patches of color, and I'm standing alone in the heart of this wild, untamed garden, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The villa looms in the distance, its broken windows watching me like a silent predator, but my focus is on the overgrown paths around me, searching for any sign of Nathan. He slipped away just moments ago, vanishing through a crumbling stone archway with a cryptic, "Wait here, Bella. I'll be right back." But minutes have stretched into what feels like hours, and a tight knot of tension is growing in my chest, pressing against my ribs. The silence here isn't just quiet, it's heavy, suffocating, like a weight pressing down on me from all sides. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of a branch in the autumn breeze makes my skin prickle with unease. I call out for him, my voice soft, almost a whisper, as if I'm afraid to disturb whatever lingers in this forgotten place. "Nathan, where are you?" The words echo faintly against the moss-covered stone walls, but there's no answer, only the hollow sound of my own voice fading into nothing. My breath catches as a new sound cuts through the stillness. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from behind that same archway where Nathan disappeared. My heart starts to race, a wild drumbeat in my chest, and I spin around, expecting to see him stepping out of the shadows with that familiar teasing grin. But it's not Nathan. 3 men emerge from the darkness of the arch, their figures materializing like ghosts from another time. My feet root to the ground as I take them in, every detail sharpening in the dim, filtered light. The first is tall, impossibly so, with sharp, angular features that could cut glass. His dark, piercing eyes seem to bore straight through me, stripping away every layer of defense I've ever built. The second is broader, his frame solid and imposing, with a rugged jawline shadowed by stubble, and a quiet intensity that makes the air around him feel charged. The third is leaner, almost wiry, with a sly, crooked grin that twists something deep in my stomach, a mix of dread and something I can't name. They're dressed in a way that feels out of place here, yet perfectly fitting for this strange, haunting setting. Dark jackets over tailored pants, elegant yet casual, as if they've stepped out of an old photograph, untouched by the decay around us. I can't move, can't decide whether to run or speak as the tall man approaches. His movements are slow, almost predatory, each step deliberate as he closes the distance between us. He stops just inches away, so close I can feel the coolness of his presence, and his gaze locks with mine, holding me captive. Then, without a word, he lifts a hand and brushes it against my cheek, his touch cold yet sending an electric jolt through me, sparking something I didn't expect. My breath hitches as his voice, low and smooth like velvet, breaks the silence. Nathan asked us to show you the true beauty of this place. The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning I can't yet grasp, and confusion swirls in my mind, tangling with a sharp edge of fear. But beneath it, there's something else. A strange, unexpected warmth spreading through me, starting where his fingers grazed my skin and radiating outward, making my pulse quicken in ways I don't understand. Before I can process his words, the other two men step closer, their presence overwhelming, like a storm rolling in. They don't speak, but they don't need to. The broader man's hand brushes lightly against my arm, a fleeting touch that sends a shiver racing down my spine. The leaner one, with that unsettling grin, lets his fingers linger at the small of my back, a subtle pressure that feels both intrusive and intoxicating. My mind screams at me to pull away, to run back through the rusted gate and never look back. This is wrong, so wrong. I'm married to Nathan, bound by vows and years of love, and yet my body betrays me, responding to their nearness with a primal pull I can't control. Heat blooms in my chest, a wildfire I can't douse, spreading through every nerve as I stand there, caught in a moment that feels like a betrayal of everything I've ever stood for. My eyes dart upward, desperate for an escape from the intensity of their nearness, and that's when I see him, Nathan, standing on the balcony of the crumbling villa, looking down at me with an expression I can't decipher. My breath stops, my heart slamming against my ribs as our gazes lock. His eyes hold a weight that feels both like a judgment and a strange, unspoken approval, and it sends a shiver racing down my spine, colder than the autumn breeze cutting through my thin dress. I'm frozen, pinned under the intensity of his stare, as if he's seeing straight into the chaos of my soul, witnessing every conflicting emotion tearing me apart. The three men around me step back, their movements almost synchronized, as if they've played their part in some twisted performance and now await the next act. Their faces are unreadable, masks of stone in the fading light, and I'm left feeling utterly exposed, vulnerable in a way I've never known. My dress clings to my skin, damp from the mist in the air, offering no shield against the chill or the weight of what just transpired. My mind is a storm, a whirlwind of guilt and confusion. Guilt for the way my body reacted, for the heat that still lingers in my veins despite my love for Nathan. Confusion over why he would orchestrate something like this, why he would watch from above as these strangers drew me into a moment that felt like a violation of our vows, yet somehow orchestrated. And beneath it all, there's a shameful ember of something I can't name, a warmth that refuses to fade, making me question who I am in the aftermath of their touch. I want to run to him, to climb the broken stone steps of the villa and demand answers, to scream at him for putting me in this position. But my legs feel like they're carved from lead, rooted to the earth of this wild garden. I can't move, can't tear my eyes away from the spot where he stands, even as the distance between us feels like an unbridgeable chasm. Then, I see it. A glass of red wine in his hand, the deep crimson liquid catching the last rays of the dying sun, glowing like a dark promise. He raises it slowly, tilting it toward me in a silent toast, and a faint smile curves his lips, just enough to shatter any hope I had of misunderstanding. My stomach drops, a sickening lurch, as the truth sinks in. He's not angry. He's not hurt. He wanted this. He planned every second of this strange, unsettling dance, and that smile, it confirms my worst fears, wrapping around my heart like a vice. The world around me blurs, the garden morphing into something surreal, almost suffocating. The wildflowers, vibrant and defiant, seem to lean in closer, their colors too bright, too accusing. The ivy clinging to the stone walls feels like it's alive, whispering secrets I'm not ready to hear, complicit in whatever game Nathan has spun. The air grows heavier, thick with the scent of earth and decay, pressing against my chest as my heart thunders, a frantic rhythm I can't slow. Nathan's figure on the balcony becomes a silhouette against the dimming sky, and then, with a final glance, he turns and disappears from view, leaving me alone once more in this untamed place. My breath comes in shallow gasps, the silence of the garden roaring in my ears, broken only by the distant rustle of leaves and the faint, lingering presence of the three men. They stand at a distance now, their forms shadowy against the overgrowth, watching me with an intensity that makes my skin crawl. I can't tell if they're waiting for something, or someone, or if their role in this is truly done. I wrap my arms around myself, the thin fabric of my dress doing little to ward off the chill that settled into my bones, a cold that's as much emotional as it is physical. I'm torn, split down the middle between shame and a strange, unbidden sense of liberation. Shame I'm still standing in the heart of this wild, untamed garden, my breath shallow, my mind a tangled mess of emotions I can't begin to unravel. The fading light casts long shadows across the overgrown paths, and the air feels heavier now, pressing against me with the weight of what just happened. My skin still tingles from the lingering memory of unfamiliar touches, and my heart hasn't stopped its frantic rhythm. I'm caught in a storm of guilt and confusion, unable to shake the image of Nathan on that balcony, his silent toast with that glass of wine, the faint smile that confirmed he orchestrated every moment of this unsettling encounter. And then, as if summoned by my spiraling thoughts, I see him again. Nathan steps into the garden, his figure emerging from the deep shadow of the villa's entrance like a specter materializing from the dusk. The last rays of sunlight catch him just right, illuminating the dark, slightly tousled waves of his hair, giving them an almost reckless charm. His hazel eyes glint with a warmth that feels both familiar and foreign, reflecting the dying light in a way that makes my chest tighten. There's a calm, almost serene expression on his face, a quiet confidence that unnerves me more than any words could. He's still holding that glass of wine, the crimson liquid swirling gently as he moves, a stark contrast to the pale, weathered stone around us. His steps are measured, purposeful, each one closing the distance between us as I stand frozen, my hands trembling at my sides. I watch him approach, my mind racing with 1,000 questions I don't know how to ask. Should I speak? Should I wait? My lips part, but no sound comes out, my throat tight with uncertainty. He stops just a few feet away, his gaze steady, piercing through the chaos in my head. Then, without a word, he sets the glass down on a nearby stone bench, the soft clink of it against the surface echoing in the stillness. Before I can process the gesture, he steps closer, erasing the last bit of space between us, and pulls me into a tight embrace. His arms wrap around me with a warmth that's so familiar it aches. Yet there's an intensity to his hold, a possessiveness I've never felt before. It's as if he's claiming me all over again, right here in this strange, haunted place. I'm pressed against him, my cheek against the fabric of his shirt, and the scent of his cologne, woodsy with a hint of spice, mingles with the earthy aroma of the garden around us. It grounds me, even as my emotions spiral out of control, a dizzying mix of relief and dread. The dampness of the air, the faint musk of decaying leaves. It all blends with the warmth of his presence, anchoring me to this moment, even as I feel like I'm slipping away. My hands hesitate before resting on his back, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breathing, so at odds with the storm inside me. I don't know if I want to push him away or cling tighter, to demand answers or let this silence stretch on forever. Then, he pulls back just enough to look into my eyes, his hands still firm on my shoulders. His face is close, so close I can see the faint lines of tension around his mouth, the quiet certainty in his expression. His voice, when he speaks, is low and steady, cutting through the haze of my thoughts like a blade. Next time we'll invite more guests. My breath catches, a sharp gasp I can't hold back. The weight of his words sinks into me, heavy and undeniable. There's no mistaking his meaning. This wasn't a fleeting moment, a one-time lapse into something forbidden. No, this was the beginning, the first step into a world I'm not sure I'm ready to face. My eyes search his, desperate for a flicker of doubt, a hint of regret, anything to tell me he's not as certain as he seems. But there's nothing. Just that quiet resolve, that same faint smile curling at the edge of his lips, as if he's already mapped out the path ahead and knows I'll follow. My heart stumbles over itself, a chaotic rhythm of fear and fascination pounding in my chest. The sun dips below the horizon now, casting the garden in shades of twilight, a muted palette of deep blues and grays that seems to swallow the last traces of warmth. Nathan and I stand together in this eerie stillness, the weight of his earlier words. Next time, we'll invite more guests, hanging between us like a dark cloud I can't escape. I don't speak, can't find the strength to form the questions clawing at my mind. Instead, I just stare into the fading light, feeling the cool air bite at my skin, sharp and unrelenting through the thin fabric of my dress. The villa looms darker now, its jagged silhouette against the twilight sky almost menacing, as if it's guarding more secrets we've yet to uncover, more truths I'm not sure I want to face. Its broken windows seem to watch us, hollow and unyielding, and a shiver runs down my spine that has nothing to do with the cold. Nathan's presence beside me is both a comfort and a source of unease. He takes my hand suddenly, his grip firm but gentle, a silent command that pulls me out of my spiraling thoughts. His touch is warm against the chill, grounding me even as it stirs the storm inside. He leads me back toward the car, the gravel crunching under our feet with each step, a harsh, grating sound that cuts through the quiet of the evening. I follow without protest, my mind too tangled to resist, my body moving on autopilot while my heart wrestles with everything this day has thrown at me. The garden fades behind us, the wild overgrowth and stone walls blurring into shadows, but I can still feel its weight, as if it's imprinted on my soul, a place I'll never fully leave behind. I'm quiet as we walk, lost in the maze of my own head, replaying every moment of this surreal day. I see the garden again in my mind's eye, the wild flowers defiant against the decay, the ivy whispering against ancient stone. I feel the ghostly echo of unfamiliar hands, the way they stirred something forbidden within me, a heat I'm ashamed to acknowledge even now. I remember Nathan's gaze from that balcony, piercing and unreadable, watching as I stumbled into a moment that shattered the boundaries of our vows. And then his words, that promise of next time, a door creaking open to a path I never imagined walking. My chest tightens with a strange mix of emotions, guilt for what I allowed to happen, for the way my body betrayed my heart, fear of where this new road might lead, of what it might cost me, and beneath it all, an undeniable curiosity, a pull toward whatever Nathan envisions for us, as dark and dangerous as it might be. We reach the car, the old sedan sitting silent and unassuming by the rusted gate, a stark contrast to the chaos it carried us into. Nathan opens the door for me, his movements smooth and deliberate, and as I slide into the passenger seat, I catch his smile. It's softer now, almost reassuring. A gentle curve of his lips that should ease my nerves but doesn't. Instead, it deepens the unease gnawing at me, because I can't shake the feeling that I've stepped into a game I don't fully understand. A chessboard where I'm not sure if I'm a player or a pawn. He closes the door with a soft thud, the sound final in the quiet evening. And as he rounds the car to the driver's side, I stare out the window at the last sliver of twilight, the world outside blurring into an inky haze. The drive home is quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavier than words ever could. The darkness of the countryside presses against the windows, an endless void that mirrors the uncertainty in my heart. The trees lining the narrow roads are mere shadows now, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, scraping at the edges of my vision. The hum of the engine is the only sound, a low, steady drone that does nothing to soothe the turmoil inside me. I keep my hands folded in my lap, fingers twisting together, the tension in my body a living thing. Nathan don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.